back to this again. Yep. So, earlier this year, whenever the first one came out on freaking DVD, I think it was last year. I think it was last year before Halloween. It came out in the middle of the year last year, I think. The DVD did. I reviewed the first one. Didn't like it. It is one of the worst examples of having a creative idea and then doing the least with it. Where it's like, oh, okay, Winnie the Pooh is, it's public domain. So let's make a horror film of Winnie the Pooh and his friends killing people. Okay. Put some effort into it? Nah. Have a good story? Nah. Decent costumes? Nah. Decent human characters for them to go against? Nah. No, it was none of that. Even though they gave us a premise with that first film where it's Christopher Robin and his fiance, he's getting married and he takes her back to Underwood to show, his friends so she can meet them. And because of budget purposes, they ate Eeyore. I have a feeling Eeyore might come back. Keep them on what they keep doing especially with the lore in this one. But they keep resurrecting them. But like the premise they gave us is literally the first 5 minutes of the first movie, where it's like, oh, he brings her back, but then the animals turn on them, kill the fiance, and kidnap Christopher Robin. And then the whole rest of that movie is just Winnie the Pooh and Piglet stabbing tits for the rest of that remainder of that movie, basically. They are going after a group of women who are, staying at a cabin. Whoop-de-doo. And we don't get any development from them. So, yeah. And then it comes down to Christopher Robin being the hero at the end. All the other female characters die because there's no reason for them to live, right? Christopher Robin is the only survivor. They detail that. They detail the events of the first film at the beginning of this. And that Christopher Robin survived. But he is sort of a martyr, if I'm using the term correctly, in this town where they seem to think he was responsible because there were no other survivors. But yet there are people that actually believe him and are going around going to the woods, chopping down the woods, which is not a very good way to go about things, because then, nature and stuff, trying to prove that these things are real. Yeah. All the while, we're going to further the lore here in a way. Okay, so a couple of gripes before I get into the actual movie. The title. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Didn't even try to think of a different name. Because Blood and Honey, to me, is the name of the first one. This one, Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin's Revenge. Something like that. Winnie the Pooh, Revenge of the 100-Acre Wood. I don't know. They just couldn't come up with any names. I came up with two. I can't think anymore, but yeah. My other gripe. This was released earlier this year. January, I think, this was released. Right? We don't get a physical media release till fucking October? Are you serious? I swear, I'm watching Cody Leach. What's his review for the movie, right? Was 6 months ago. It's October, 6 months is March. It was March. So, March. And February, March, one of the two. And we don't get, maybe early March, we don't get, I think it actually will be February. We don't get a physical media release till October. Well, I get it, October, it's Halloween. And then, yeah, and I have the DVD. They had the Blu-ray Steelbook, but I'm not paying $25 for this. Okay? And I got the DVD, the other one, it fits, it works, it's fine, put next to each other on a shelf. Yeah. I am someone who is actually all in on this universe that they want to do. Before I get into the movie, let's talk about this universe that they're doing. So you got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. There's the Blood and Honey 3 going to come out. But it's after this crossover thing they're doing. There's a Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. With Pinocchio Unstrung. Bambi, The Reckoning. Cinderella 1 that's happening. Yeah. And then there's the big team-up movie, which I was very wrong of what it is, called Pooniverse something, something, something. Had the Avenger-style text. My assumption is it would be like what? Destroy all monsters. Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, all our monsters all out attack or whatever. All the monsters show up, right? That kind of thing. Like they're all fighting each other like a Godzilla movie. Yeah, Pooh and Peter Pan and Hook and everybody, Bambi, all fighting each other. No. The premise of that Pooniverse movie they're making is all these creatures are coming together to hunt down the survivors of their individual movies. That's what the premise is. No one wants to see that. I want to see them fight each other. That's what I want. I want to see Peter Pan face Winnie the Pooh. I want to see Bambi take on Pinocchio. I want to see, I think Alice in Wonderland's going to be a character or something. I don't know. I want to see, there's the Cricket. I want to see Cinderella kick Tinkerbell's ass or something, you know? No, they're all going to be on the same team because it's like Avengers. I don't know. That's not what I want to see. But let's get to this movie now instead of my griping about it. That's my gripes. Those are my gripes. Okay. So we start out with another animated thing like the first one, detailing what happened in the movie's first events. So after the events of the first film, they created a movie which is entitled Blood and Honey, the Christopher Robin Story. I have an issue with this because they show it later, and it's literally just the first movie. So they're saying that the first movie that we watched was the movie, and this is the real world which that movie was based upon. Okay, that's how they explain the new actor playing Christopher Robin and the new looks for the creatures of Pooh, Tigger, Owl, and that's fucking, we'll get to that, and Piglet, who is also back for no reason because he's killed right away. Literally. One of the first things after they go into the wood, there's these people looking around for him. Piglet gets just shot in the head. Like, what was the point of bringing him back? What was the point? Come on. Like, oh, he's resurrected, it's resurrected, he's back, because they have powers or something, whatever. Like I said, Christopher Robin has become a pariah. That's what it is, a pariah, not martyr, a pariah, because a martyr, he'd be dead. Pariah, where people just sort of look down on him, because some people think he's responsible. Apparently he's become a doctor, and like during this film, he gets fired from being a doctor, and I'm like, wait, he became a doctor after the events of the first movie, right? Two things. How was he able to even go to school to become a doctor if he's looked upon upon? And two, do you know how fucking long it takes to become a doctor? My supervisor's son is becoming a doctor. He went to 4 years of regular college, got to do another 2 to 4 years of doctor college. There's no way that was that much time between these two movies. Although, if we're saying that the events of this, that the movie the movie that was the first movie came out last year, but these events happened many, many years ago, and the movie only just came out. Sure, fine, whatever. Blah. So Christopher Robin now once again lives in this town by 100-acre wood. We'll get to it. With his family, his mother, his father, and his sister. Christopher Robin was an only child in the books and in the cartoon movies. But now he's got siblings. And what's more, they give him a twin brother who was kidnapped when he was a kid. Somebody watched Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, they put that, but they don't even... Okay. One of my big issues is they don't do the storytelling as properly as they should. There are a couple things in this that I was very confused. At one point, he's talking to his little sister. Bunny is her name. Don't think that when Rabbit comes around, there's going to be a connection there. But, you know. And she mentions, like, I miss Billy. I'm like, Billy? Who the fuck is Billy? Apparently, Billy was his little brother, or his twin brother, who was kidnapped when they were kids. And I went, so they watched Five Nights at Freddy's and said, let's do that. That's literally what it is. It's an older sibling talking to a younger sister about their missing brother. That is literally copying Five Nights at Freddy's. You ripped off Five Nights at Freddy's. That is literally what you're doing. Even to the point where he confronts his brother's kidnapper later in the film. You ripped off Five Nights at Freddy's. Higher echelon filmmakers would get the benefit of the doubt. But these fuckers, no, they ripped them off. Plain and simple. They ripped off Five Nights at Freddy's. They saw Five Nights at Freddy's and said, that could be a good idea. What they do, and literally, it's the same fucking premise. Oh my god, I just thought of this. Five Nights at Freddy's. Someone is kidnapping them and then put them in the costumes, right? The twist of this fucking movie is that the kids are being kidnapped and turned into Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, all those creatures. It's literally the same fucking plot as Five Nights at Freddy's. God damn. I just thought of that. Yeah. And can you guess which one is his brother? It's Pooh. It's Pooh. Yeah. One thing I should preface, though, is the pre-title sequence where it's basically, they reversed it where the random girls in a random women in a cabin are killed at the beginning of this. They're doing some kind of weird seance thing. And then a vulture-looking creature who's supposed to be owl shows up. Yeah, the subtitle said owl. I'm like, owl. Ooh, I'm going to see what owl looks like. Now, I'd seen this vulture-looking creature in posters and stuff, and I thought it was something from, like, Peter Pan or something, or some sort of Bambi-related thing. And I'm like, that's not an owl, that's a vulture. Owls don't have pointy beaks that go out to here. Owls have flat faces and little beaks. That's not an owl. You did so much better with the designs of Pooh and Piglet in this. And even Tigger looks pretty good. That's not a fucking owl, that's a vulture. Jesus. This thing looks like Angelica Houston from The Witches. That's what it is. It's Angelica Houston bird from The Witches. That's what it looks like. If Angelica Houston's witch was a bird, that's what it would look like. It's not an owl. They get killed right away. One of my biggest complaints in this movie is there's good gore when you can fucking see it because everything is so dark. Everyone's killed at night. It's so freaking dark. But if you could squint your eyes to see it, there's some decent gore in this. Why does it have to be so dark? This is Alien vs. Predator Requiem, for God's sake. Oh. I didn't expect you to do this much complaining because I actually thought this was decent until I just realized now that it's basically the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's. Whew. So, yeah, basically explain that part of the plot. But yeah, then Christopher Robin has this. I was confused at first because Christopher Robin talks to this girl, this lady, and I'm like, wait, not everything from the first one was made up as a movie, right? I thought this isn't his fiance. She's dead. Because then they show Piglet's back. By the way, they talk, and I have a complaint. So now I understand. I understand that Christopher Robin is British. I had my problems with that in the first one. The all the creatures shouldn't talk with the British accent though, because Owl was the only one who was actually British. All the other one were American accents. Even Pooh, who sounds like this, is not British. Even though it's a little bit, but he's not British, no. And even, Piglet, oh dear, and Tigger, hey there, long-eared. No, they're not British. So I don't understand why they all have a British accent, because the people playing them are. So what? Do an American accent. Owl is the only one that ever had a British bravado. I do like that he's sort of the mastermind because Owl was the smartest one of all those people and you knew it. I'm just saying. He was the smartest. So I appreciate that he's the brains of this. But yeah. So Christopher Robin sees this weird dude who is the janitor at his hospital after he's just been fired. But wait, he's fired, and then his friend gets brought in. He's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And he can't really do anything because he's been fired. By the way, can you actually fire a doctor if he's got a doctorate and he went to school for all those years to become a doctor? Can you just say you're fired? He's still technically a doctor because he's got the doctorate. Like, you just don't work at a hospital anymore. And by the way, he could take them to court. I think. I think this is a what do you call it? Something dismissal or I forgot what it's called. Like when you unjustly fired from something due to criticism. This is not. Look, there is no proof that he committed the things, but they fire him just because they don't want the negative press. That is textbook unlawful dismissal, whatever the thing is. He could take them to court and he could get his shot back like that. But he accepts it because the movie says so. So I mentioned his friend, the female friend at the beginning. She's babysitting this kid when I think it's Tigger or someone comes knocking on the door and comes after them. They're able to escape. Eventually, Pooh and them kidnap his sister, Bunny, Ella, Bunny, whatever. Kidnap her. So he's got to go save her. He saves his friend. There's also they mention a rave at the beginning, and I go, oh, that's going to be a slaughter. And it is. It's a big slaughter scene. Freaking blood everywhere. That one you can see a little bit better because of the freaking, that's a rave in a cave, and they all die, is what I say. Yeah. So, yeah, there's like I said, when you can see them, there's good gore effects. Yeah. Chris Robin shows up. He does shoot Tigger, but Tigger survives, supposedly. And then he has the stare down with Pooh. He calls him Billy, and that's where I went. Of course it's him. Of course that's his brother. Of course. I should have thought of it sooner. And I get what they were trying to do with this, but it made my eyes roll so far back I thought they were going to pop out my ass. Because he uses the axe, chops him in the head, and Pooh says, "Oh, bother," and then falls backwards. And I just went, oh, give me a fucking break. Give me it. First of all, they shouldn't be able to do that because I feel like "Oh Bother" comes specifically from the Disney version of the character. So I feel like that should be copyrighted or copywritten or whatever the word is. That should be copyright because I feel like that should only be from the Disney version. I don't know. That shouldn't be legal. None of this should be legal to begin with. That should not be legal, right? I don't know. Yeah, and then he saves his sister. They get out of there, but it's not over. It's not over because and then the credits start. It's a nice little credit thing, and then I like this credit because when the credits start, it's like this feels like an actual movie, and then it's cut off by like a mid-credit scene where Owl is doing a speech about how he's going to Tigger, who is not in this movie that much, but he gives a speech to Tigger how he's going to resurrect Pooh and Piglet again, and they're going to take the revenge again. So, yeah, I don't think there was anything at the end. I didn't want to stick with the credits because it became like dun 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 score. Musical. The score's not bad. There are times though where it felt like they were copying other the times they do that. And I'm like, they're copying Insidious with some of those little if you could hear it, you could. Seems like they're trying to copy Insidious's score sometimes the way they do it, but this was better. I don't remember what I gave the last one, but I'll give it a middle of the road, albeit a very low one. This was better. At least there was a semblance of a plot, but did you need to rip off Five Nights at Freddy's? I'm just saying. Sorry, I went into thought. So what are your thoughts on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.